Hello guys, my name is Desmond and I welcome you to my lesson for today where we'll be looking at your mathematics, obviously the questions that I've posted in the group. So ladies and gentlemen, please do allow me to say it is very much important that I say it is very much important because Zozo. What I'm about to say, it's massively. Hey, massively important, ladies and gentlemen, that I say a day without learning something new, it's a day wasted. By so saying, please, ladies and gentlemen, please do make sure that by the end of each and every lesson that I conduct, you learn something new. Most importantly, a very warm welcome to my very first learners who will be attending my lesson for the very first time today. So what normally happens is, just in case if you've got another device, you can just forward the other questions, the questions to the other device so that you are able to read when I read, and also on the other device, look at what I'll be writing there. So question number 4, it's what we'll be starting with. It's actually a continuation of the previous question that we did, which was question number 3. So now we just continue from that same question. So let's see. Question number 4, we are given a statement which says the quadratic number pattern being that has a constant second difference of 1. Good people, remember, we are now on number pattern, sequence, and series. So for some of you who are attending my lesson for the very first time today, please be aware that I've done lessons where I do an introduction to this chapter. So we are actually wrapping up where we solve exam questions. And then from there, starting from next week, we'll be starting with functions. So just make sure that in the group for 2023 tests and videos, you catch up so that you are on the same page as everyone. But most importantly, whatever that I've done since the beginning of this year on the 2nd of January, we will still do that as revision sometime in the middle of the year. So for those of you who still remember, I did indicate that when we are dealing with a sequence and series, the first thing that you need to ask yourself is, what type of a number pattern is that? So you look at the type, and secondly, in case if you do not know what the type is, you might need to try and find out. Let's see. So obviously that would be determining the type, and then from there, it's either you get the difference, which could be the first or the second difference, or otherwise the ratio, depending on the type of a number pattern that it is. And I think I said lastly, that's when you can start looking at the questions. Okay, so now here comes a question. What type of a pattern or a sequence is that? Anyone to tell us what type of a sequence is that?
It is quadratic sequence.
It is a quadratic number pattern or a quadratic sequence. How did she know? She got it from the statement quadratic, let's say, pattern. So the moment you know you are dealing with a quadratic pattern, then what's next is for you to do all those in relation to a quadratic number pattern. What is that? If you remember, we did say a quadratic pattern has got the second common difference. So that means you will need to firstly find the first difference, from there do the second difference. Then once we are done with all of that, that's when we can start looking at the questions. So that's how I used to approach this type of questions. So let's see, what are we having as our first difference? Remember, in this case, we are dealing with the letters. So we do know very well that it is actually the second term minus the previous term. You can't punch P on a calculator. That is why you are just going to write it as P minus 4. Again, you are going to have 11 minus that. So it's actually 11 minus P. You also can't punch that on a calculator. So that's why I'm just going to leave it as it is. So also that minus that, you end up having Q minus 11. You can't punch that on a calculator. That is why I'm writing it as it is. So lastly, you are having 22 minus Q. So you are having 22 minus Q as it is in that form, because you do not have Q on your calculator. Even if it's there, you cannot say a number minus a letter. Those two, they do not mix. So let's see. What have we done, Bantu Bakiti? This is what we did. We just calculated the first difference. So now we need to do the second difference, which is common. I'm not sure if you guys read the statements, but from what I'm reading, let me just start from where it started. Under question number 4, the quadratic number pattern, which is 4, P, 11Q, and 22, has a constant second difference of 1. So I don't need to stress that much by saying this minus that. I just know that they say when you say that minus that is 1, that minus that is 1. How do I know it's 1 for everything? It's because the statement said it's a second common difference. And most importantly, in the statement, they did indicate that it is a quadratic pattern. So it has to be an obvious thing that under quadratic pattern, you will always at all the times have your common difference being the second part. So now, I think we have actually ticked that second bullet. So now, I'm not sure if you guys are ready to move on to the last part, which is now attacking the questions. But before I do that, can I just check if we are all on the same page? Are you guys sure that you fully understand
Still
what I've
together.
done over there? Mr.
Yes, sir.
Zain,
Yes.
was that a question coming through?
No, sir, I'm just saying we are together, still together.
Okay. Last one to confirm. Minenhle, welcome back, honorable member. Hey, uthini lo mntwana? Uthi zihamba njani? Guys, I'm just going to make an assumption that the baby just confirmed that all is good. So that is our principal there. Let's see. 4.1, it says, show that P is equals to 7 and Q is equals to 16. Yo. Kwenze njani manje? What? 3 marks. Then if it's allocated 3 marks, good people, anything from 1 to 3 under this chapter of number pattern, it doesn't matter whether it's an arithmetic, geometric, quadratic, or series. As long as a question is allocated 1 to 3 marks, just know that it's just a matter of you identifying the correct formula, correct substitution, correct simplification, and correct final answer. That's where you will score your maximum marks of 3 marks. But the moment it's allocated 4 marks, just know that there you need to somehow think. You will need to think deep. So I'm not sure, Bantu Bagiti, based on the information that you gathered since we started with these lessons, are you able to give it a try just to let us know what could be happening there? The question says, ausbonize ukuthi lo P lo ulingana no 7. Lo Q lo ulingana no 16. Anyone who'd like to give it a try? Just mention your name and I will recognize you, honorable member. Anyone?
This one.
I hear someone saying something. Was that a name?
Vuyiswa.
Voiswa, go for it, honorable member.
Okay, so I think we're gonna use the difference formula. So we're gonna say 11 minus P.
11 minus P.
And then say minus.
Minus.
But put it in brackets, like open brackets.
Okay.
Open brackets.
Open.
P minus 4.
P minus 4.
Close brackets is equals to 1.
Hey. Is equals to, hey, Voiswa, uyenzani lapha?
1. It's equals to 1.
Ungathi ngiyadideka, angiboni ukuthi kwenzakalani la. Ungachaza ukuthi wenzeni lapho? Hey, Vuyiswa, ubalekile. Are you still there,
So
honorable
they
member?
told us, yes.
Yeah, so I just want you to put us in the picture. What's the thinking behind that? What are you doing there?
Okay, so they told us that the second term, the constant second term was equals to 1, right? And then we took
Yes.
Then we took the what you call it? What you call it?
Let's say a term from the first difference. Yeah, maybe let's say that.
Yeah, we took that one, the term from this first difference minus that one to give us the second constant difference.
Oh, okay. Awuthi ngingenelele ngithathe lapho. Vuyiswa, you are 100% correct. If you remember, honorable members, let's say, just as an example, let's say we are having, someone is saying something. Can you say that again, honorable member?
I have a question.
Oh yes, yes. Lerato, hii ni mbuzo yako.
So why did you just explain, sir, from the start why we used the minus sign? Also, why we equated to 1, because 1 is the second difference, right? Please, I'm lost here.
Yes. Okay. So I'm about to explain that. So let's say, just as an example, remember, if you are having 2, let's say it's 2, what is it? Maybe 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe let's say 10, 11, 12, 13, maybe let's say 14. I'm just giving an example, guys. Remember, when you say this minus that, it gives you that number. What is that number there? I think it's 4. When you say this minus that, what does it give you? It gives you 4. Maybe let me update and say, let's say that was that, and this one, let's say it was, I had 14, maybe let's say 18. Lerato, just be patient with me there. I just need to derive something that will make you guys understand. But for now, you guys can just be looking there. Let's see. That minus that is 4. That minus that. What is that? Is it 6? Yes, it's 6. What is this minus that? What is that? Is it 6? If it's 6, I don't want that number to be that. I want something that's going to give me 8. So that means it has to be 20 there. Okay. Okay. This is exactly what I need. So what am I doing there, guys? The reason why you are getting confused there, it is because this is in a form of letters. So I'm just going to try and re-explain what we are doing there, but using the numbers. Let's see. Remember, this is what we call the first difference, which is that minus that. So what is 6 minus 2? Is it not 4? Yes, it's 4. What is 12 minus 6? Is it not, what is it? 6. Yes, it's 6. What is 20 minus 12? Is it not 8? Yes, it is 8. Remember, this is now our first difference. It's more like, is that part there? It is our first difference. So we do know very well that under a quadratic pattern, we always have the second common difference. The word common, it means it has to be the same number or the same thing, or the same letter. So can you see, when you continue to say this, Lerato, this minus what is it? That, it gives you something. What is that something? Is 2. So if you try to relate this to that, you will realize that our honorable member started with that, which is that, and she said minus that, which is minus that. Is it not equals to 2? That's why she equated it to 1. Let's check. So that means if you say this minus that, it has to give you 2, because this is now the second common difference. So someone might already see how we are going to get the Q value, meaning you might need to say that minus that, then you equate it to that, which is like that minus that, it is equals to that. I'm about to tell you guys a secret that you should at all the times remember. When dealing with quadratic number pattern is 2 in 1. Listen very carefully. Vulani mandlebe, bantu bakithi. When you are dealing with a quadratic pattern, it's 2 in 1. What am I saying when I say it's 2 in 1? Number 1 is quadratic. Number 2 is arithmetic. So starting from here, going down, it's a quadratic number pattern. But Lerato, starting from here, going down, it's an arithmetic or linear pattern. So it's more like at this stage, you can treat that as a linear or arithmetic number pattern. Why? Because when you look at that and you do that minus that, that minus that, it gives you the common difference, which is the first common difference. But at that stage, this is where you're having quadratic. That's why I'm saying when you're dealing with quadratic, it's actually 2 in 1. So just always remember that, because at some point in some instances, you might need that information. For example, you might be given whatever there, but you find that you actually need to use this information for you to answer the questions. So just remember that sometimes you can still consult with the equation of linear or arithmetic. So just make sure that you are not being confused by that. But maybe before I remove all of that, Lerato, does it make sense now? Do you now understand what honorable member was doing there? She's having her 6 that she's minusing with 4 and equated to 2. She's having that she's minusing with that, and that is equals to that. Because the formula says term 2 minus term 1, it is your difference. Voiswa, would you say I'm the voice of the voiceless? Is that what you were intending to say, honorable member?
Yes.
Lerato, are you happy there?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
But wait, is it everyone who's happy? I'm having a feeling that someone is lost, and I don't want to continue. Now, are you sure you understand everything there? You know, there are those productive questions. Someone might ask something of which we take for granted, because when I explain, there are some things that not by intention, not mentioned, and you might find that it could be valuable to someone. Carol, Yandiswa, just ask me a question. Just ask me a question before I continue. No question coming through, which is an indication that we are on the same page. Okay, so now let's answer the question of 3 marks. So let's see, all that you do is just to work out a maths equation. Remember, always you start with their brackets. So that by that, what are you getting? It's 11 minus p. You have an invisible one there. That by that, you are having negative p. A minus times a minus, it gives you positive, because it's 1, then it remains as 4. So now let's see. We have a number that we can work it out with a number, and then we have a p that we can work it out with that. So it's more like giving away 1p, giving away 1p, you have given away 2p. And then what is 11 plus that? Is it not 15? I think it's 15 equals to 1. So now remember, letters on the one side and numbers on the one side, meaning you want to take all the numbers to one side. That's how you solve a maths problem. So you also want to have letters on one side. What is 1 minus 15? Is it not 14? I think it's 14. But most importantly, negative 14. Why negative 14? Because it's 1 minus 15. So it's a smaller number minusing a bigger number, which is where that negative is coming from. Let's see. Now, you need to get rid of that 2. So that cancels that. You are having your P, which is, what is that? Obviously, what is that divided by that? Mm-hmm.
7.
Yes, it's 7. So, Hamisa, can you see that we've just proven that indeed P is equals to 7? Guys, before we move on to Q, anyone who'd like to ask a question regarding that? So for someone who doesn't have a question now, and also still blank, it could be that you need to catch up on the previous lesson. So not having a question, it doesn't mean you fully understand. I'm well aware of that. So just make sure that you catch up. You will be exposed to a lot of information, which will lead up to more questions. But for now, quickly, I'm going to give you just 1 minute to try and work out that Q value. And then once you are done, just say you are done. Then I'll be aware someone has worked it out and they are done. I hope you guys are not watching Scheme Sum there and working out this math problem, because I can hear Charles is making noise there. Hey guys,
So
are you still
tell us if we finished solving the sum?
Voiswa, what did you say there, honorable member?
I was asking if you wanted us to tell you if we finished solving the
Yes.
sum.
I-
Okay,
yes, if you are
done.
done, just say done. Okay, Voiswa is done. I'll just be waiting for one more.
Done.
Okay, done. Then it's fine. I will remove all of that and then we quickly work it out. So let's see. Obviously, we follow the same principle. You're having that minusing that equals that. So we're having 22 minus Q in brackets is fine. Q minus 11 close equals to 1. So let's see. That by that, 22 minus Q. That by that, it's minus Q. That by that is plus 11, which is equals to 1. Obviously, negative 2Q, what are those? I think it's 33, which is equals to that. So negative 2Q, you take that to the other side, it becomes what? I think is negative 32. Then divided by negative 2. Then what are we having? Cancels, cancel. What is that? I think 30 divided by 2 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Yes, it's 60. So that's how you show that P is equals to 7 and then Q is equals to 16. So that's how you easily score yourself 3 marks. So that one, it's actually a repetition of what we did, but with different values. So let's see. The next question says, determine the general term Tn of the quadratic pattern. So it's in most cases whereby when they say the general term, it's in most cases where they want you to determine the formula in a form of Tn. But we know that generally Tn is equals to an squared plus bn plus c. So also we know there's a formula which says not A, 2A. 2A is equals to that value there, the first term of the second difference. Obviously, in that case, it's equals to 1. And again, 3A plus B is equals to the value of that first term of the first difference. If we don't know what that actual value is, we'll to calculate it, equate it to this. And also, last, the formula says A plus B plus C is equals to the first term of that pattern. So this, you need to know it by heart. It is not given on your formula sheet. So just make sure that when you practice, you also try not to copy that until it sticks in your head. So what is the actual value of that? Because now it's in a form of, what is the actual value there?
Four, say, I think it's 4.
Uyithole kanjani?
Sorry,
Uyithole
sir, what was the
kanjani?
question?
What is that value there?
Okay, so please repeat the question.
So the question was, what is the actual value of that? Because here it's 4 minus P, but we want just a number.
3. It should be 3.
Yes, because we know what the value of P is, which is 7. So 7 minus 4 is 3, which means this is where we put 3. So now we just solve in that direction. So you are having A, which is equal to 1. What is it? 1 over 2, because you divide by 2 there. So you take this A value, you're going to then substitute it there. So you end up having 3 into 1 over 2 plus B, which is equals to 3. Then what is B? So obviously that is 1.5. You take it to the other side, you end up having 2.5, which I think is 2 over 5. So it's more like you're going to say the whole of that. That's why I'm saying it gives you 2.5. Just confirm that. So you take that and then you're going to substitute it. That is why you need to have that in this order of having this and that, then lastly that. Because you're going to take your A value, which is half, you put it with your B value, which is 5 over 2. See, all of that is equals to that. So 1.5 plus half, I think it's a 3. Then you're having plus C, which is equals to 4. You take that to the other side, you end up having a, what is it? 4 minus 3, which is equals to C. So remember, guys, when examiner says quadratic, when they say the general term, they just want you to find the A value, the B value, the C value, then you just write it there on that general formula. So how will it look like? It's going to look like a TN, which is equal to Yibu.
Sorry, sir. Sir, I think you made a mistake.
Where did I make a mistake, honorable member? Maybe let me get my calculator. Because,
Sir, the value of C, sir, when I calculated, I got
C
2.
value. You got 2. Let's see. Maybe let's say, what is 2.5 plus half? Why am I getting 3, Lerato? Because this is half, this is 2.5.
So let's start where we were calculating the value of B. It's 3
Or maybe
and
I
a
made a
half
mistake
plus
here.
B.
The one that is wrong.
Yes, sir, from there.
She's correct.
This is where I made a mistake. Okay, let's
Yes,
see. Let's see. So let's say 3 minus 3 into 0.5. We are getting 3 over that. Yes, 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 yes. Let's quickly update that. So all the times, guys, never trust me when I sebenzisa ingqondo ngoba ngisenza ingqondo manje uyabona ukuthi lezi zinto zangqondo let's see what be the okay, this is the B that I need to update, which is so guys, sure next ungazi ingqondo ngoba so sure. Let's see now 0.5 plus 3 over 2 is equals to 2. So that means it's not 3 there, but it is 2. Then you take it to the other side, it becomes 2. Yes, 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 yes. Ngivumelana now. Is it everyone who
Sorry, sir.
Yebo?
Please, can you repeat there? 3A plus B is equals to 3. Please, can you repeat there?
3A, oh, this one, 3A plus B is equals to 3. I think Umi is referring to that one. Okay, so if you remember, Umi, under quadratic, we are having this, and then that, we also have that. So this value, which is that one, it's equals to a 2a. So this one, it's equals to 3a plus b. It is the formula that doesn't change. And then that one there, it's equals to 4. If this one is 4, this one is 1. You tell me, the Umis, what is this value here? What is that value there? I'm not sure if Umi is still there, but 4.1, we proved that P is equals to what? 7, yes. So now to know the exact value there, you need to say 7 minus 4, which is 3. So that is where that 3 is coming from. So that is why we know that the formula is 3b, it's equals to 3. So now to get that a value, we got it from there, where 2a is equals to 1. Then you divide by 2, you get a half. So that's why we substituted that half there to calculate the b value, which is that. Then we take that b value, we also know the a value, substitute it there to calculate the C value. So now that we have the C value, it's just a matter of saying Tn is equals to the A value n squared plus the B value n plus our constant value being 2. So let me remove all of these while I'm waiting for Umi to confirm if she understood. So let's see. What is A? A is 1 over 2. Then you're having a n squared plus what is our B is 3 over 2 n. What is our C? Our C is 2. This is what examiner wants. Makes sense, Umi? I'm not sure if Umi is still there,
So
but
I think you're getting off.
think she did understand. Guys, anyone who's got a question before we move on to the next question?
No, sir. Okay.
So can't hear you properly.
No question, eh? Mapping everything here on your side. Someone says they're not able to hear me. Mzozo, uyangizwa lapho? Ngiyazwakala lapho? Zwakala kahle. Denzel, you are here. Can you hear me? Denzel. Am I clear on your side? Carol, can you clearly hear me, honorable member? I think the message is taking some time to deliver. I'm just wondering if I'm not breaking. But Mzozo just said I'm clear. Let's break. Okay, Mzozo, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to leave and then I will rejoin. I just want to disconnect Wi-Fi and then I'll be back just now. Guys, how about now? Is it still breaking?
It's good now.
Last one to confirm.
It's a bit clear, sir.
Okay, so now let's see if we can move on to the next question. I think we need that. So let me just write it somewhere where we'll easily access it when we want it. So we said we are having the general flexibility n equals to half x squared plus 3 over 2 n plus 2. Okay, so now moving on to the next question. Let's see what they say, which is 4.3. So they're saying determine the value of if Tn is equals to 3 to 3. So they say if Tn is equals to
Larry on my side.
It's blurry on some side. I did not Discord Wi-Fi. So Moleboge, just 2 seconds. I'm going to leave and then I'll be back. I'm suspecting it will be better now. Moleboge, how is it now? Better. Can someone see how is it now? I'm just not sure if I'm able to hear my question.
I think it's still blurry, but continue, I will hear you.
Cutting off.
It's cutting.
Cutting off.
It seems like now it's worse. No.
Oh, this is clear.
Okay. I hear you guys say I can continue, but if it makes any space, just let me know because this lesson is being recorded. Just in case towards the exam you want to catch up, it has to be clear. So just make sure that whether it's blurry or breaking, let me know so that I do something. See, so here there's Tn is 232. Calculate the value of n. So can you guys see this is what they want you to calculate. So you just take the whole of that and then you equate it to 0. Not 0, but what they say it is equal to is what? 2, 3, 2. Then from there, you just go for n. So that means you might need to say that plus 3 over 2n plus 2, and then you take this to another line, becomes that which is equal to 0. Then you are having half n plus over 2n plus, it's not even a plus, it's going to be a minus, because when you punch it on the calculator, it gives you, I think it has to be that. So this is what you can now factorize. For you to factorize, you will therefore either get rid of that 2, means you
I'm not seeing anything, sir.
every term 2.
Sorry,
Because
I cannot
you
see.
really want to get rid of that fraction.
I can see. You can see.
Can you hear us?
I know I got disconnected there. I'm not sure what happened, but can you guys hear me before I continue? I'm hoping we are on the same page there, because we're solving a quadratic equation. Are we on the same page, guys? Is it clear there? Can you clearly see? Guys, I need someone to just confirm if it's clear before
I
go
can
deep.
hear you and the board is back, but it's a bit fuzzy.
Fuzzy, you can hear me. I think it has been doing that. But in case if you are able to hear me, let me continue. Then you'll be noting down what I'll be saying. Just in case if you've got a question, make sure you've written everything correctly. So this is what I was saying. You get rid of that denominator, meaning you will multiply each term by 2. Obviously, the 2 that you multiply in that term will cancel that. Or it will also cancel that, remain with n. What will that be when you multiply it by 2? So let's see. It's actually 230 multiplied by 2 is negative 400. Obviously, 0 multiplied by any number remains as 0. So when you guys now see that you've got quadratic equation and it's in the standard form. Once it's in the standard form, this is where you need to factorize. Obviously, you're going to have n, but most importantly, in case if you are dealing with complicated quadratic equations, remember at all the times to use a quadratic equation, which is negative e plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. Our c being negative 460 over a, which is equal to 20. On the calculator is positive 20, but inside the brackets you write is negative 20. Remember, guys, I did explain this process multiple times. On the calculator is positive 23. In the brackets you write it in the opposite sign, meaning it's going to be positive 23. So obviously you now give the n values. So because it's a quadratic equation 2, it means you're going to have 2 possible answers. The first possible answer being positive 20, and the second possible answer being negative 23. Most importantly, guys, if you remember what I said on yesterday's lesson, I said under number pattern, n will never be what is it? It will actually never be less or equals to 0. That means it will never be negative a value. So the moment you are now presented with two possible answers, between the two possible answers, one should be the correct answer, which is obviously a positive value being 20. This one, which is not an answer, you therefore need to use it. Because if you don't, it's more like you are giving me as a examiner two possible answers, which I don't know which one it is. Imagine these are two doors. You don't know which one opens up to heaven. So if you don't cross this one and say use this, I won't know which one you use.
Never mind.
Someone is saying something. I'm not sure if it's a question coming through. Can you repeat that, honorable member? What did you say there?
I was saying
Is
that
it
I can't
blurry?
see anything. Yeah, like really, really blurry.
Okay, then I need to quickly make a plan. Let me leave and then I'll be back. Voice, how is it now? Still the same?
Better, yeah, it's good.
Okay, so I'm just not sure if it's everyone who understood what I've done there, but because the calculation is done, what I would advise you to do, if it's clear, just quickly take a screenshot of that so that you can be able to look at it and derive possible questions. What I was saying is, when you are dealing with a quadratic equation, that squared, it means you're going to have two possible answers. Under number pattern, when you are calculating for n, your value for n should never be less or equals to 0, meaning it shouldn't be negative, and most importantly, it shouldn't be 0, and again, it shouldn't be a fraction or decimal. So now, when you work out that and you factorize correctly, you end up with two values being 20 and a negative 23. Based on what I've just explained, there is no way a negative value can represent n. So that is why you have to cross it, so that you are actually saying this is the answer, and then this is not the answer. This is why sometimes they will say not applicable. It's either say not applicable or you cross it. So the heaven, whatever. I was saying it's more like if you don't cross it, Bali, it's more like I've got two doors and I don't know which one opens up to heaven. So it becomes a guessing game, you see. So that is why you need to say, don't take that route, but take this one. It will lead you to the greener pastures. So I'm not sure if you guys understood that part before we move on to the last part of this question. I think it was a straightforward question, that one. So just remember to try and work it out so that you notice where you could possibly go wrong. So let's quickly work out this question being 4.1. This is where it's a bit tricky. 5 marks. They are saying if the sum of two consecutive terms in the pattern is 1,227, calculate the difference between these two terms. Sure. if the sum of two consecutive terms in the pattern is that. Guys, what I understand is that, let's say if we have 2, 4, 6, when they say consecutive terms, they are saying if you add this and that, not when you add that and that. It has to be that and next term. So try to, if the sum of two, hey, the word sum, I know it talks about plusing some things. Okay, see, if the sum of two consecutive terms in the pattern is that, from what I understand, it's more like they're saying if term 1 you plus it with term 2 is a 1207, calculate the difference between these two terms. I think it's starting to make sense. So it's more like the general formula. If T1 plus T2 equals 120, 227. Yeah, if that plus that is equals to that. But I think I'm noticing something, guys. Remember, we are still dealing with that number pattern, and we already have the general formula. So let's say we don't know what term number whatever is. Let's call it term Tn. You guys agree that the next term is just a term number n plus 1. For example, if that term is term number 23, there's going to be term number 4. I mean 24. So it's more like whatever the term number, the next term will be that term number plus 1. And then and so on and so on. I'm just not sure if you guys understand me on that part, because once you get me on that part, you will fully understand as we continue. But let me just make sure if everyone understands that part alone. Am I not confusing guys on that one?
Say I'm lost.
Someone is lost, and I'm not surprised why honorable member is lost there. And I think it might worth it to just spend our time on that one, just to make sure that someone is saying something there. Was someone also confirming that they are also lost?
Yes, sir, totally lost.
Okay. Maybe let me remove all of that. I'm no longer on the question, but I want you guys to understand something, to say, if you are having 2, 3, 4, 5, this is term number 1. Do you guys agree that this is term number 2, which is going to be term number 1 plus 1, makes it term number 2? This one is going to be that term number 2 plus 1, which makes it number 3. Similarly, here, term number, it's going to be the whole of it. You plus it by 1. So it's more like moving from one term to the next. You just keep on adding that number by 1. Maybe let me try to re-explain it again and say, this is term number 1. This is going to be term number 2. This is term number 3. This is term number 4. So what I'm saying is, assuming that this is term number n, this second term is obviously going to be number term n plus 1, which is more like 1 plus 1 is term number 2. So, okay, if it's term number 2, that one, so that means this one is going to be term number 3, which is that, because that is term number 2, you plus it by 1 to that term. So that one being term number 4, it's actually the whole of that, because the whole of that represents term number 3. So it's actually the whole of that plus 1. But we shouldn't worry about all of that, because we are only concentrating on 2 terms. So let me remove all of that, limit it to just 2 terms. So my question is, do you guys agree that since we don't know what term number it is that they are referring to in the question, we can just refer to that as n, and then we know that the next term from that one is just n plus 1. I'm not sure if I'm still losing you guys on this one. I would understand if you are still lost, and I'll try to explain it in a different way. But are you guys getting what I'm trying to explain there?
Mr. Now I'm still lost.
There's one body who is still not really she lost, but I also lost that question there. Let me just quickly. I'm just not sure of a. Okay, I just want to quickly charge so that I can refer back to that question. But this is what I'm suspecting. Let me try to work it out until the end, and then from here, it might make some sense. So this is where it gets complicated, this chapter, where you are given something similar to that, and it doesn't really make sense in terms of what examiner wants. But now, let me try to formulate something, and you might have a light. This is what I'm to assume. They are saying when you add a term plus another term, it equals to all of that. But I don't know what that term number is. So I'll just assume that is n, and then the next term is obviously n plus 1. So it's more like I'm dealing with term number 1 and term number 2. But I don't want to use 1 and 2 because I'm not sure if it's term number 1 that you edit with term number 2 and it gives you that number. So it's more like, for example, let's say you're having 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So it's more like they're saying there is a term when you edit, when you add them together, those 2 terms, they give you let me say 14. What is that term? You guys know what is that term? There. When you add them together, they give you 14. What is that term number? Or what are those 2 term numbers?
6 and 8.
6 and 8.
No. I'm sure you guys are surprised why I'm saying no. I'm saying no because it's not 6 and 8. It's term number 3 and number 4 that when you add them together, they give you 14. So that's where it confuses you. Did you hear my question? I said, which 2 terms when you add them together, they give you 14. So your response was is 6 6 and 8. So that is where the confusing part comes with that question. So that means you might need to really pay attention to those little details to try to understand exactly what are they asking about. But I'm pretty much sure that when I continue, some of you guys will have an idea of what I'm talking about. So that means it is not a 6 and 8 that when you add them together, they give you 14, but it's term number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in this question, they are not telling you that it's term number 3 and term number 4. You are just having blank information there. And they are just saying there's a certain term that when you add it together with another term, it gives you 1,227. Don't know what that term is, but what when you knew that it's actually term number 3 and term 4. So because I don't know what that term number is that it's up to that number, that is why I'm using letter N. And then here I'm using letter N plus 1 because I know the next term is going to N plus 1. Even here you're having 3. So this other term is going to be 3 plus 1, which is 4. It's a bit tricky, guys. I'm not really expecting you guys to understand it, but I might have a light. And as we do some more and more of this type of questions, that's when you'll be exposed to how tricky it can be. And when we do more of this type of problems, it comes in its own different way. You will remember that, okay, there are possibilities of doing this and that in these questions. So let me now try to work it out and explain what happened there. Remember, what I'm now going to try and do is to try and find out what is that term number. So let me just substitute from there. This is what I'm going to do. I just know that when you take half n squared plus 3 over 2n plus 2, and you add that with what? A half. Then in this case, where you see n, you substitute n plus 1. Why n plus 1? That's what I was trying to explain to say. Or that example that I gave you, you knew that it's actually term number 3, that when you add it with number 4, it gives you what? 14. But on this question, I don't know number it is that when you add them together, give you that number. That is why just in place of number going to put n. But for that term, I just know that it's going to be that term, you just plus it with 1. So that means everywhere I see n, everywhere I see n there, I'm just going to substitute n. Then I'm going to plus it, which is that plus. Then I plus it with that same equation, but where I see n, I'm going to substitute that. And I'm going to equate everything to that, which is what the statement was saying. Then from there, I'm going to solve for n. Then you will see what I'm going to do with that n. I'm not sure if you guys are having some light now. Also, if you don't, please let me know so that I'll try to see if there's a need for me to gather this type of questions and just do a special lesson where I focus on those. Your response, guys, on that.
Lost. Angeke hayi kutsale kanzima.
Inzima le ndlela. Le ndlela le inzima. Maybe okay, I think this is going to be a perfect example. This is going to be a perfect example of what I'm going to explain to you guys. I might not need to do this in today's lesson and also at this stage. See, someone has got their camera on. Is it Ether or Esther? Ether, make sure not to click on a button which says share screen or which says video, because we are going to see every. So this is what I was about to say, guys. The reason why you guys get confused in grade 12, it is for this reason that when you get there, you are only concentrating on complicated stuff. So that's why I prefer not to start there, but try to do the easy stuff so that I prepare you to that question. So I'm now realizing that this question, it was actually too much for you to understand at this stage. Still for that question, but just to give you guys a background, let's say, for example, you had 2, you had 4, and then you had 6. What the information was given there. Maybe let me add there. So I'm out of that question. I'm just trying to give you guys a pic of what's happening with that question. Then when the time is right, we'll revisit that question. So it's more like they are saying there are 2 terms. When added together, they give you a let me add again 10 and do that. They say there are 2 terms. When added together, they give you 18. That's what the statement was saying there. When the 2 consecutive terms, the sum of the 2 consecutive terms equals whatever. So now I'm giving you that, and I'm saying which 2 terms when together, or which 2 consecutive, which 2 consecutive terms added together you 18? Yes, that is the question. Which 2 terms will add together give you 18?
It's term 4 and term 5.
Yes, 100% Mzozo. Is term what? Is term 4 being added to term number 5? Vuiswa, do you agree with Mzozo? Okay. If that is the case, let me bring it to that statement. That statement was saying if the sum of 2 consecutive terms in the pattern is 1,227. Can you guys hear what they are saying? They are saying if the sum of 2 consecutive terms is 1,207, then what they say is calculate the difference between the 2 terms. So that means also in that chain, this one, what they actually want, they want to say that 10 minus that 8, which is equals to what? Which is equals to 2. That is what the question wants you to calculate. But before you can what is it? Before you can calculate that, you need to know what is that term number. Once you can be able to calculate that term number, it's going to be easy to then calculate the value for that term number. Then once you can easily get the difference. I know it might still be tricky, but now, because here you are seeing real numbers, I'm now going to try and make it look the same as that. This is what they are saying, Mzozo. They say, what two numbers, not necessarily what two numbers, but they're saying when you add two consecutive numbers, they give you a, let's say, 14. What are those numbers, Mzozo, that when you add them together, they give you 14? Do you know what are those numbers?
6 plus 8.
Yeah, this also confirms that this question, it is indeed confusing, because me or the question is asking which two terms, not which two numbers, because what you have given two numbers, you said 6 and what else? Is it going to be 8? Yeah. Can you see? You're saying 10 6 are being added to 6, 8. But the question is not saying 8 together to give 1022. They just see two terms are being added together to give 14. So my question is, do we know what are those two terms? Is it term number 3? Is it term number 4? Is it term number 5? Is it term number 30? Is it term number 40? Do we know?
It's term 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Hey, Mbali is giving it a try there. But the reality, Mbali, is that we don't know what are those terms because we are not given the sequence. We don't know what sequence is. Oh, remember, guys, this question, it has got nothing to do with that. Nay. It has nothing to do with that. I think this is where it's also confusing. So 4.4, you can see it's actually a statement where you don't need to refer to that. But you rely on that statement which says if the sum of
Kwenzakalani manje?
I think we should leave because some of us have physics is at 8, so we'll just ask him to redo the question tomorrow.
After spending them 5 minutes, then it's kwenzakalani? Then bese siyaphuma.
Bantu bakithi.
Singing on the pie. Yeah,
Mina sesiqedile wala msayi sokuphele 5 minutes nothisha akabuyi.
Guys, I see you all there. I got disconnected because my battery died and also the network is poor. So I'll say let's revisit this question again. But for now, you can prepare to attend your next lesson. Not sure if you guys can hear me. Now I see Bali is there. Ichimile Neo, Milentle, Moleboge, Star, Hamisa Wish. Guys, can you hear me? Do you get this message?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then it's fine. So what I'm going to do is to end this recording. Do you guys think in terms of quality of this lesson, was it too much blurry such that it won't be viable to upload this lesson for you? Can someone just confirm if I upload, are you going to still use it to catch up? I'm just trying to avoid a situation where it's completely it was completely blurry and you won't use it in the future. Should I upload this lesson tomorrow? Yebo noma cha?
Yes, we can upload it. It's just like sometimes it was blurry and then it was like sometimes it was okay.